So how do you know if you're getting the best use of your training dollars? It's a simple formula that I'm going to show you in just a moment. Early in my career, I was walking down the hallway in the San Diego Police Department headquarters. I was headed out to the field for second watch patrol. My sergeant stopped me and said, "Hey, Kerry, can I talk to you for a sec?" I'm like, "Hey, Sarge, what's up?" He asked me, "Do you know the average number of citizen complaints a Central Division officer gets?" No, I didn't know they tracked that. Well, they do. It's 0.3 a year. "Sarge, how do you get a third of a complaint?" Well, the average is 1 every 3 years, so that's 0.3 a year. Do you know how many complaints you've had? Didn't know they tracked that. Well, they do. You've had 7 in 6 months. I say, "Hey, Sarge, I've been cleared on every one of those." He said, "Yeah, I know, but I'm worried this is going to hurt your career. People are going to think where there's smoke, there's fire. So you're off your beat. Pick anywhere you want to work, but you're not working beat 527. 527 is Balboa Park. And if you've never been there, it's like New York Central Park, only twice the size. And there was a pedophile series that I had been working pretty hard, like really hard. And looking back in my attempts to catch and deter pedophiles, I probably cast my net a little too wide, or a lot too wide. Did unconscious bias play a part in how I was treating the people that I stopped? I think it did. And now, the department didn't send me to diversity training. I didn't go to sensitivity training, no communication skills, and certainly nothing about unconscious bias. And what happened was, if I was the problem, well, you already figured it out. Instead of solving the problem was just moved to a different part of the city. Now, let me be clear. The department wasn't negligent in any way because the training didn't exist for me to go to. There were no tools in that area for the department to give to me. See, for your people to do better, you have to be able to give them the tools to be better. I wanted to be better. I just didn't have the right tools. So what I did is I set out and created that training in communication skills, diversity, equity, inclusion, so that what I went through, so what the community members that had to deal with me, that had bad experiences with me, I didn't want that to keep happening with other officers. Later, I discovered BiasSync and the work that they do with unconscious bias, and quite frankly, I was amazed. I was amazed because the effort, the dedication to diving deep, the enthusiasm for high quality and engaging training was something I'd never seen before. In my 30 years in law enforcement, I've seen some amazing training. I've seen some god-awful stuff I wouldn't want anyone to have to endure. So my passion is learner-centered, highly engaging, and highly effective training. That's why I'm both a California Post Master Instructor and a nationally certified Master Instructor. And a lot of law enforcement training uses techniques that results in a retention rate, the stuff that people remember, of about 10% after 30 days. The techniques that BiasSync uses have been proven to have people remember 90% after 90 days. So how do you know that training is effective? It's simple. There's a change in behavior. Think about that for a moment. Diversity, inclusion, equity, unconscious bias related to race, gender, sex, age. When you have problems in those areas, bad things happen. Things that result in lawsuits, things that result in careers being ended, resignations, reputations that are forever tarnished. All of that is totally preventable. So let's look at that formula I told you about. Let's take a mid-size agency of 1,250 people. If you're going to train them every 2 years, and let's say it's a 4-hour training, the average class size of about 30 people, that's 40 classes, 42 classes. Now, if you have more or less than 1,250 people, this formula still works. Just adjust it to get the number of classes you're going to have. Now, we're taking 30 people out of the field for 4 hours to train them in unconscious bias. I'm going to take an average pay rate of about $45 an hour. It's probably going to be more, especially when you toss in the sergeants and the lieutenants and the captains. They'll go through the training also, but I want my numbers to be conservative. 32 people times $45 an hour times 4 hours, it's $5,760. Now you take that, multiply it by 42 classes, and we have a training cost of $242,000. So it's safe to say you're spending that money, and that's just for one training cycle. Now, what did we get for $242,000? an average of 10% retention. Wow. Whopping 30 days later, what do we have to show for all this money that we spent? Now, in the business world, this is called ROI, or return on investment. We have a 10% retention, so that means out of $242,000, we have a value of $24,000 retained. That's it. We just threw away $218,000. $218,000 wasted, gone in 30 days. Look, you're sending people to training. You're spending the money. You're clearly willing to invest in your deputies, in your staff. You care. Yet you end up dealing with lawsuits and good people leaving to other agencies that you worked hard to recruit and you spent a lot of money training them. They're gone. And the public, they're still unhappy with you. And it seems like you just can't win. Well, it's not your fault. The reason is totally one simple thing. Law enforcement trainers almost always teach the way they were taught. They were taught by someone who stood up at the front of the class and sounded like Charlie Brown's teacher. Wah, wah, wah. You know the noise. You've been to this training. You know the torture, and you know how you have mentally checked out. The instructors lectured, and it wasn't engaging. They didn't hit the different learning domains. The learning styles of auditory, visual, kinesthetic were words the instructors never heard about. Certainly nothing about the affective domain. If you mention Bloom's taxonomy, it'd be like speaking Greek, and let's not even try to understand Kirkpatrick's model for analyzing and evaluating training results. Let's talk about BiasSync, though. Depending on the size of your agency, the pricing will vary a little bit, but this is going to get us in the ballpark. Remember what I said a few minutes ago. The training that BiasSync provides is super high quality, scientifically based, developed by experts in both unconscious bias and coordinated with experts in the field they're serving. In our case, law enforcement. Research shows that when you provide this kind of training, the retention rate is 90% or more after 90 days. That would completely flip-flop the numbers we just talked about. That would mean instead of throwing away $218,000, you would have that as a retained value. 90% effectiveness is huge in the training world. I know of training companies that I personally work with that have a per employee cost of anywhere from $9 to $20 a month. And that's getting kind of pricey. BiasSync, it's a fraction of that. See, BiasSync truly believes in their mission. Their CEO, Michelle Ruiz, she says, we recognize that everybody is biased. It's just part of the human condition. It doesn't make us bad people. And we believe that helping people become more conscious of their unconscious bias lets them make more informed daily decisions, more accurate, more objective, more equitable, and at a cost of under $3. $2.68 a month. That's it. My question for you is, isn't it worth it to spend that to help your people do better, to help them be better, to help limit your liability, to have training that people actually enjoy? In fact, enjoy it so much, studies show they'll go back and voluntarily participate in the training again. And what's cool is that doesn't raise your costs. The cost is still the same, and they participate in more training. And you don't have to take them out of the field. You don't have to deal with staffing issues and more complaints about response times that are too long. $2.68 a month. That's it. To me, it's a no-brainer. You can throw away $218,000 or spend $2.68. Remember, for your people to do better, you have to be able to give them the tools to be better. Now, the public is going to ask you a question, guaranteed. And that question is, what are you doing to keep your deputies from being racist? Wouldn't it be cool to get out in front of this topic, to be proactive? So let me ask you this. Do you feel like this could be the answer for you? Give BiasSync a call right now. Don't wait. Call now and let BiasSync get this solution rolled out to you right away before a problem like Minneapolis crops up in your agency. Thank you.